Day 3, the third day of the Satipatthana course is over. We expressed our gratitude to the old monk because of whom Ma Kassapa decided to compile all the teachings. As a result, they were maintained in their pristine purity from generation to generation. Sometimes something very wholesome results from an unwholesome situation. This is what happened. Over the centuries, 6 councils of monks have recited and authenticated the Tipitaka to remove any mistakes that had crept in. 3 councils were held in India, 1 in Sri Lanka, and 2 in Myanmar. The 6th and most recent was in Rangoon in 1955 to 56, 2500 years after the Buddha passed away. Just as we are grateful to those who maintained the practice in its pristine purity, we are also grateful to those who have maintained the purity of the Buddha's words. Today we can compare the words with the technique and derive more inspiration by knowing that we are practicing as the Buddha taught. We continue with the discourse. The 4 Satipatthanas. As we discussed, there are 4 Satipatthanas. The purpose of Satipatthana is to explore the area which is identified with I, to which so much attachment develops. There are 2 distinct fields, body and mind, that are Kaya and Chitta. The exploration must be done at the experiential, not the intellectual level. If you try to understand body just by taking attention, say, to the head and asserting that this is my head, it is only an intellectual truth, that of recognition. To experience reality, you must feel it. Therefore, there must be sensation, and Kaya and sensation go together in this exploration. Similarly, with Chitta, to sit down and merely assert that this is your mind will only be an imagination or at best an intellectual understanding. To experience mind, something must arise in the mind, perhaps some strong craving or aversion or some thought. It arises and passes away. Whatever it is called Dhamma, the literal meaning of which is Dharate, the Dhamma, that which is contained by Chitta. Just as Kaya and Vedana go together, Chitta and Dhamma go together. Then, as the Buddha elsewhere announced from his own experience, another reality. Everything that arises in the mind starts flowing with a sensation on the body. Samosarana means gets collected together and flows. Vedana therefore becomes so important. To explore the Kaya, you have to feel sensations. Similarly, in the exploration of Chitta and Dhamma, everything that arises in the mind manifests as a sensation. Continuing, each Satipatthana has certain similar words. Kaye, Kayanupassi Viharati. Anupassi comes from Pasana or Dasana, to look. You see things directly yourself. Vipassana means seeing in a special way, the correct way. Vividhena means in different ways from different angles. Vikena means by dividing, dissecting, disintegrating. So you observe whatever reality has arisen. Anupassana means continuously from moment to moment. Thus, Kaya Kayanupassi is to observe the body from moment to moment within, that is, in the body. Similarly, Vedanasu is in the sensations, Chitte is in the mind, and Dhammesu is in the mental contents. Vipassana uses no imagination. You could imagine a sensation and that it is changing even without experiencing it. But this is not reality as it is, where it is. Your body must be experienced in your own body, sensations in your own sensations, mind in your own mind, mental contents in your own mental contents. Therefore, the meditator lives, dwells, observing body in the body. A tapi literally means tapas, burning. A meditator who is working very ardently, very diligently, burns off the mental impurities. Sattama means aware. Sampanno means having the quality of sampanna. The awareness must be with sampanna, the panna that feels the arising and passing away of Vedana, because impermanence has to be experienced at the level of Vedana. Thus, the observation whether of Kaya, Vedana, Chitta or Dhamma must be atappi sampanno satima. Vinaya loke abhija dumanasam. Keeping away from craving and aversion towards this world of mind and matter. Vinaya means to keep away from or to abstain from. Lokas are the planes of the universe. Here, lok means the entire field of mind and matter, all five aggregates which constitute I, the material aggregate, rupa, and the four mental aggregates of cognizing, vinana, recognizing, sanna, feeling, vedana, and reacting, sankhara. All four Satipathanas can be practiced only with the base of Vedana. This is because unless something is felt, craving and aversion cannot arise. If the sensation is pleasant, only then does craving arise. If the sensation is unpleasant, only then does aversion arise. If you don't experience sensation, you won't even know that craving or aversion has arisen and you cannot come out of them. Anapana Pabam, observation of respiration. In exploring the field of matter, the body, the first chapter is on Anapana, the respiration coming in and going out. A place of solitude is required, secluded and with no disturbance. The meditator goes to a forest, the foot of a tree, or a place where nobody lives, like the individual cells you have here, any of these three. The meditator must sit down. Palankam abhujitva means cross-legged. The lotus or half lotus posture is not necessary. If this is possible, it is a posture that brings greater alertness, but otherwise any cross-legged posture that is comfortable for longer periods at a stretch is good enough. The upper portion of the body should be straight. The awareness is established around the mouth, the entrance to the nostrils. Certain traditions translate this as in the front, as if the awareness is imagined to be in front of the person, but this sets up a duality. Actually, you have to feel the breath coming and going around the mouth, above the upper lip, which is parimukham. Then the work starts. With awareness, he breathes in. With awareness, he breathes out. Breathing in a deep breath, he understands properly, I am breathing in a deep breath. Breathing out a deep breath, he understands properly, I am breathing out a deep breath. The long in breath and similarly the long out breath is known and understood as such because it is felt, experienced. Now the breath becomes shallow, short, and is understood in the same way. You will see how each sentence signifies another station on the path, a new experience. As the mind calms down, the agitation decreases and the breath becomes short. It is not controlled as in a breathing exercise but just observed. Now he trains himself, feeling the whole body, I shall breathe in, feeling the whole body, I shall breathe out. Instead of pajanati, to understand properly the word sikhati, learns, trains, is now used. As meditators, after a day or two's work with the breath, you have experienced a sensation in this area. Then, working with both, you reach the stage of feeling sensation throughout the body. Sabakaya. Initially, it is very gross, solidified, intensified, but as you keep practicing patiently, persistently, remaining equanimous with every experience, the whole body dissolves into subtle vibrations and you reach the stage of bhanga, total dissolution. Having started with natural breath, you learn to reach the important station of feeling sensations in the whole body in one breath, from top to bottom as you breathe out, from bottom to top as you breathe in. Without practice, there will be confusion. Other traditions interpret these words as the body of the breath, as if the beginning, middle, end, and so the whole breath is felt. Of course, as oxygen enters the bloodstream with the breath, it moves throughout the body from the top of the head to the toes, and sensation flows with the blood. It could be taken in this sense, but we are practicing Kayanupassana. The whole body must be felt, and this is what a meditator experiences. When bhanga comes, following all the unpleasant sensations, the tendency of the mind is to react with craving and clinging. This is dangerous, fearful situation. It is much easier to stop having aversion to unpleasant sensation than to stop having craving towards pleasant sensation. Yet this craving is the mother of aversion, and Vipassana is to work. Vinaya loke abhija doma nasam, without craving or aversion. You have to keep understanding that the pleasant sensation also is anika, nothing but tiny wavelets, bubbles arising and passing. With this panna, the impurities get eradicated and the situation of calmness, tranquility is reached. Now, with the body activities claimed, he trains himself to breathe in and out. Again, the word sikhati is used because this station is reached by learning, by practice. The 1 hour abhidharana, sitting in which the posture is not changed, which was initially a struggle, becomes natural. There is no movement in the body because there is no unpleasant situation anywhere. Breathe becomes the only movement. This is also a kaya sankhara, a movement or activity of the body. As the mind is trained to become calm and tranquil, the breath also becomes shorter, calmer, subtler, until it just makes a U-turn as it enters, and at times it seems to stop. It is so fine. Here also there is the danger of attachment, of taking this as the final stage. Now the Buddha gives the example of a carpenter who then as now turns and cuts wood, for instance to make a leg for a piece of furniture. He uses a lathe. A long turn of the lathe makes a thicker cut than a short turn. He or his apprentice knows well whether his turn is long or short. Similarly, the meditator knows well whether the breath is long or short. In the example, the lathe cuts at the point of contact. Similarly, the attention is to be kept where the breath touches. You should not follow the breath deep inside or outside into the atmosphere. You are aware of this area and you also feel the whole breath coming in or going out. In the next important station, with the help of the breath, the whole body is felt inside or within oneself. Then it is also felt outside, on the surface of the body, and lastly, simultaneously both inside and outside. These are the Buddha's words. Certain commentaries or sub commentaries have been written on them. Some 1000 to 1500 years after the Buddha, and some even more recently. They give many good explanations of the Buddha's words and also descriptions of a whole spectrum of life and society at that time: political, social, educational, and economic aspects. However, they give certain interpretations which this tradition of meditation cannot accept. For instance, here a commentary takes Ajatam as the meditator's body, which is acceptable, but Bahidha as the body of someone else, even though no one else is there. It explains that the meditator can simply think of someone else and how all beings similar breathe in and out. We cannot agree with this because this is imagination, and in this tradition, Vipassana or Anupassana is to observe within your body. Therefore, for us, Bahida is the surface of the body but still within its framework. Ajhatta Bahida can also be understood in relation to the five sense doors. When an outside object comes into contact with the eyes, ears, nose, tongue, or body surface, it is felt within the framework of the body but on the surface of the body. Even the mind is within the framework of the body, although its object may be outside. The sutta still does not intend you to start thinking of or seeing another body. The next few sentences appear in every chapter. They describe the real practice of Vipassana, and great care should be taken to understand them properly. Samudaya Dhammanupassi, the Dhamma, the reality or the truth of arising, is observed within the body. Then the truth of passing away is observed. The gross sensation arises, seems to stay for some time, then passes away. Arising and passing are seen as separate. Then, in the stage of bhanga, total dissolution, the sensation is one of the vibrations that arise and pass with great rapidity. Samudaya and Vaya are experienced together. There is no interval. According to the Visuddhimagga, the path of purification, the first important station is called Udaya. A meditator must understand this and the next stage of Bhanga well. Now his awareness is established. This is body. This is the stage in which the body is experienced as not I, not mine, but just body. Just a mass of vibrations, bubbles, wavelets. It is merely a collection of kalpas, subatomic particles arising and passing. There is nothing good or bad, beautiful or ugly, white or brown about it. Initially, the acceptance of anatta, not I, is intellectual or devotional based on the words of someone else. The actual experience starts with anika because every pleasant sensation turns into an unpleasant one. The danger of attachment is realized. It is dukkha because of its inherent nature of change. Then anatta is understood. The body is felt as just subatomic particles arising and passing, and automatically the attachment of body goes away. Then it is a high stage when the awareness, sati, gets established. Pakupathita, hoti, in this truth from movement to movement. Proceeding further. Matta means mere. There is mere wisdom, mere knowledge, mere observation. This is to the extent that there is no wise person, no one to know or experience. In another Indian tradition, it is called only knowing, only seeing. In the Buddha's time, a very old hermit lived at a place called Suparapattam near present day Bombay. Having practiced the eight Jahans, deep mental absorptions, he thought himself fully enlightened. A well wisher corrected him, telling him that a Buddha was now present at Savatthi, who could teach him the real practice for becoming enlightened. He was so excited to hear this, he went all the way to Savatthi in northern India. Reaching the monastery, he found that the Buddha that had gone out for alms, so he went directly to the city. He found the Buddha walking down a street and immediately understood that this was the Buddha. He asked him then and there for the technique to become an arahant. The Buddha told him to wait for an hour or so to be taught in the monastery. But he insisted. He might die within the hour, or the Buddha might die, or he might lose his present great faith in the Buddha. Now was the time when all these three were present. The Buddha looked and realized that very soon this man would die and indeed should be given Dhamma now. So he spoke just a few words to this developed old hermit there on the side of the road. In seeing there is mere seeing, in hearing mere hearing, in smelling mere smelling, in tasting mere tasting, in touching mere touching, and in cognizing only cognizing. This was sufficient. At the stage of mere knowing, what is being cognized or the identity of who cognizes is irrelevant. There is mere understanding. The deep in Nibbana follows, where there is nothing to hold, no base to stand on. The entire field of mind and matter is transcended, and there is no word or universe to grasp. Whether it is for a few minutes or few hours depends on the capacity and previous work of the person. A person in Nibbana, as if dead, none of the senses functions, although inside the person is very aware, very alert, very awakened. After that, the person returns and again starts functioning in the sensory field, but a fully liberated person has no attachment, no clinging, because there is no craving. Such a person will cling to nothing in the entire universe, and nothing clings to them. This is the stage described, so a meditator practices. Those who practice these sentences will understand the meaning of every word given, but mere intellectualization won't help. Real understanding comes with experience. Iriyapatha postures of the body. Iriyapatha are postures of the body. When walking, a meditator knows well, I am walking. Similarly, whether standing, sitting, or lying down, a meditator knows this well. This is just the beginning. In the sentence that follows, not I, but just body is known well in whatever posture. Then, in a repetition of the same sentences, the body is observed inside, outside, and both inside and outside simultaneously. Arising is observed, then passing, then both together. Actually, it is the sensations that are observed as arising and passing away, because sampanna, the understanding of aneka, has to be present as in every chapter. Awareness follows that this is body and this is not I. This is established with wisdom. Then mere understanding and awareness follow. Without any base to hold, there is nothing to grasp. Sampannapabam means constant, thorough understanding of impermanence. Walking forward or coming back, looking straight or sideways, bending or stretching with ropes or begging bowl, eating, drinking, chewing, attending to the calls of nature, walking, standing, sitting, lying down, awake or asleep, speaking or remaining silent, whatever the activity, sampanna is being practiced, the same stages are then repeated. We have already seen that sampanna has to be present everywhere, every moment. The Buddha was frequently asked about sati, every time his reply including sampanna. Without sampanna, sati is only the awareness of the circus girl. If there is no awareness of arising and passing, it will not lead to liberation. When asked about sampanna itself, the Buddha used to reply with either of two explanations. One explanation was the observation with panna of the arising, staying, and passing away of the three things: sensation, perception, and the sense object. For instance, a sound at the ear sense door. These objects are called dhamma and they flow with sensations. Again, the arising and passing of sensation is predominant in sampanna. The paragraph in this sutta was another explanation. Sampanna embraces every activity. The meaning is that continuity is required. To illustrate the point, in another discourse, the Buddha said, when a meditator practicing ardently does not miss sampanna even for a moment, such a wise one fully understands all sensations, and having completely understood them, he becomes freed from all impurities. On the breaking up of the body, such a person, being established in Dhamma and understanding sensations perfectly, attains the indescribable stage beyond the conditioned world. The Arahant, having understood the entire field of sensations from the grossest to the subtlest, does not after death return to this field of arising and passing away. Sampanna is therefore essential in the Buddha's teaching. If you don't understand it, you may be carried away in the wrong direction. Sometimes translations of words create difficulties. Other schools are not to be condemned, but we should understand what we are doing. Sometimes sampanna is mistranslated. Clear comprehension of what? It is taken to mean of gross details. While walking, someone comprehends the lifting, moving, placing of one leg, then the other leg, and so forth. Actually, the Buddha wants you to feel Vedana, arising, staying, and passing away. If the understanding of Vedana is missed, the whole technique becomes polluted. Therefore, sampanna has to be continuous in every situation. Even when sleeping, it should be present. When students begin, they are told that they are helpless in deep sleep, and just to be aware in the waking hours, but at a high stage in meditation, there is no normal sleep at all. Full rest is taken, but with sampanna inside, the awareness of sensation arising and passing of anika. Sometimes on courses, students start to have this experience, reporting that they had little or no sleep, but still felt quite fresh. They were with sampanna. In every chapter, the repetition of certain words indicates the importance of this sampanna. Atapi sampanno satima applies to the observation of kaya, vedana, chitta, and dhamma. Sampanna has to be present. Similarly, samudaya vaya and samudaya vaya dhammapassi, which apply everywhere in the sutta, have to be with sampanna and sensations. For example, in Myanmar, there are many pagodas on plateaus with 4 staircases, one each from the east, west, north, and south. Similarly, you might start with Kaya, Vedana, Chitta, or Dhamma. But as you enter the gallery, they all intermingle in Vedana, and reaching the shrine room, it is the same Nibbana. Whichever staircase you start climbing, you come to Vedana and Sampanna, and if you are with Sampanna, you are progressing step by step towards the final goal. Make use of the time you have to work, no one else can work for you. Pariyatti will give you proper direction and inspiration, but the benefit will be from your own work, your practice of Patipatti, and Pativedana is to pierce this curtain of ignorance and reach the ultimate truth about mind, matter, and the mental contents to experience Nibbana. Make best use of this opportunity and the facilities. Make use of this wonderful Dhamma for your own good, benefit, and liberation from the miseries and bondages of life. May you all enjoy real peace, harmony, and happiness. May all beings be happy.